day handing them out. There's a devotional book for you. There's a devotional book for you. Put your mark on your head, that kind of. So, if you guys want really like awesome, like if you want to get a girl, you just say, hey, you want to go to the submarine races? You guys, what do you say? They'll say yes, and then Dwight will show up and pummel you all for being sinners.
Good morning, everybody. Whoa, good morning, everybody.
I'm changing.
Hey, let's stand and worship this morning, guys. We're glad that you're here. How's everybody's week? You ready for the week yet?
Nothing's working.
The screen just went blank, but you're good now. Quick, go, sing!
When the heart is under fire, nothing way when the walls are closing in. Should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning? I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free? There is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. Left it down beneath the water. Yeah, I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, either way I will bow to the things of this world. 'Cause I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how I've been set free? There is a grave that holds nobody, and now the power lives in me. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the water, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding of how it set me free? There is a grave that holds nobody, now the power lives in me. And I can see the light in the darkness, as the darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens, as the space between wasted. I can feel the ground shake beneath us, as the prison walls came in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is and will be through it all. So come with me in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning. I know the darkness bows to him, I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between waves thin. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. There'll be another in the fire standing next to me. There'll be another in the water holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me? Don't have to try coming, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Knock out the joy of every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Knock out the joy of every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy of every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy of every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. Alone in my sorrow and dead in my sin, lost without hope, no place to begin. Your love made a way to let mercy come in. When death was arrested, my life began. And ash was redeemed, only beauty remains. My orphan heart was given a name. My morning grew quiet and my feet rose to dance. When death was arrested, my life began. Until your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. And it's your endless love on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Released from my chains, I'm a prisoner no more. My shame was a ransom, faithful before. Take cancer my death, take Holy Spirit. When death was arrested, and my life began. So grace, so free, washes over me. You have made me new, now life begins with you. It's your endless love pouring down on us. You have made us new, now life begins with you. Our Savior displayed on a criminal's cross. Darkness rejoiced as though heaven had lost. But then Jesus arose with our freedom in him. That's when death was arrested and my life began. Your grace so free washes over me. You have made me new, now life sent your son to die on the cross so that we can be free. And thank you for that reminder this morning and the chance to worship you. Just be with Dwight as he gives us a message this morning. Help us to hear from you and use what he says in our lives so that we can become more like you and become closer to you. In His name we pray. Amen.
There's my tea. Lost it. It needs Jesus too, I guess. So anyway, I've had lots of tea and I'm in a good mood today. So if I start talking fast, just slow me down. Oh, the tea. All right. Hey, P.S. reminder, next week we are celebrating Sean and Chanel. Sean has a great opportunity in music ministry, and so he's moving on to that. We are looking for a new worship leader. It is going to be a transitional season. It is okay. I told the staff this week, I'm like Nick Saban. I just make worship leaders and just send them off like head coaches, you know. Not that they're going to be any good where they go. That's up to them. I just, you know. Don't mute me. He's like, shut up. All right, good morning. I'm excited. We're finishing a sermon series. I got this new clicker, and it just doesn't.
Thing's junk, dude.
I think it needs like line of sight or something. I don't know. I was going to kick it, but I don't want to. No, I wrote last week's one that I put in my sweatshirt and then washed it. So that one died.
Oh, it's different? Nice.
Clickers and I are mortal enemies.
There goes the youth budget.
It all goes to clickers. We started a sermon series called Resolution Runner at the beginning of the year, talking about resolutions. 80% of resolutions die by January 10th. For those of the rest of you, only 75% of those people will complete it to the middle of the year, and only 1% will complete it year all the way through. So resolutions, it's good to actually make a change. And so we talked about the first week, making a change, and what motivates you to have a resolution? What makes you motivated to change? And the next week we started talking about what stumbles, what keeps us away from changing. We talked about the baseball cards and people cheating us, and sometimes we sin and we fall short of the glory of God. We cause that problem. And so that was that week, and we've kind of been working our way to this week, and this is the end of the series. Ultimately, those of you that make a decision to make that resolution, to take a change and say, listen, I do want God in my life. I want to engage Him. I want to be part of a relationship with Him because I do think He made me beautifully, wonderfully. Yes, I say beautifully, guys. Insert handsome, whatever. It is weird. Like this side is all the girls, and except for Ethan. Ethan decided to. Oh no, I got a couple in the back. And then like this is the most. So awesome. You guys are awesome. These girls are like, I got all the guys. All right, so anyway, for those of you that made a decision or want to make a decision to follow Jesus, baptism is the next step. First is making a decision to follow Jesus and starting that resolution to engage Him, to figure out who He created you to be, because I really do think and know that He did not make a mistake on you, even though you go, well, I don't like this about me, I don't like that, I don't like this situation in life I'm in. He put you there for a reason. You can alter that based on the decisions you make, but God put you where He wanted you to be. This is all part of His plan. He made you, put you in the family the way He wanted you to be for a purpose. I believe that. And so let's talk about running the race. And so give me my first slide, actually, because this was an interesting statement somebody said to me this week. Actually, it was last week, so I had a chance to have a conversation with this person. They said, listen, the Bible's hogwash. The Bible is a bunch of lies. The Bible is just, it's not applicable to my life and who I am today. It's old-fashioned. And so I had a lot of those, and I said, let's talk about it. I want to hear you. I think one of the things we've lost in a society is how to have a conversation with somebody that's different than us. And I'm not just talking about the political aspect. I'm just talking in general. Having an actual conversation with somebody when they don't agree with you. And so I just sat and listened for quite a long time about this is wrong and that's wrong. And I said, I've been going through the book of Romans to get this sermon series started for my students over the last month. So, I don't believe it was a mistake. I believe it was also meant to be part of the conversation I was having with that person. Does anybody, where are my sports people? I'll get to the other things, but where are my sports people? You've been in an athletic game. Do you ever do at the beginning, what gets you hyped up before a game? Anybody? Just throw it out there. What is it? Mountain Dew, okay. Coffee? Music. That's another big one. If you've watched, what some of the other ones? What is it? The thrill. So like just the thrill of the chase kind of thing. Go ahead. All right, so yeah, being competitive, the adrenaline. Before the game, you all put your hands in, you're like, "Go team!" You guys do that, or at least get around, before COVID. You remember that? You get around, you have the man in the middle going, "Wow, dogs in the house, we're gonna hit each other hard." For my football guys, you know what I'm talking about, right? You're like, "Yeah, we do that. It's weird. I don't know." In the moment of it, I want to hit somebody. For those guys over there, we get hyped up. Some of it's music. You got to listen to music. Some of it's just this straight adrenaline. I want to be part of it. I want to be involved. How many of you are involved in those things but are terrified before you do those things? Maybe it's dance where you get on stage in front of everybody. BJJ, what if I lose? There's some fear in that. So I want you to think about that moment, whatever intensifies you, whatever brings you to a moment of excitement. And maybe watch some movies where there's always the speech before they go to battle. You guys know what I'm talking about? And even at the end of the movie, you're like, I want to fight somebody now. That was a great speech. Muhammad Ali, I'm going to show you how great I am. And you have motivational speeches. I did one of those before I climbed. You see Spartan races? Anybody do Spartan races? You heard of them at least? And then Aaron and I we're going to do one. And it was supposed to be 3 miles. That year it was called Deception. And so we had to run 6 miles and 24 obstacles up a Black Diamond ski resort. So that was awesome. But at the top, when we were training with my wife, I was goofy. And I played this Muhammad Ali, Rocky, all those mesh up, you've heard those, the motivational mesh ups where they use motivational speeches. So we get to the top of the mountain, I'm dying. She's like, what's your problem? And she's like, so I'm dying, and she's like, I'm going to show you how great I am. Motivational speeches, it gets us what gets us going. And so this person said the Bible's hogwash. There's nothing in it that's relevant to who I am. And I said, I'm going to politely disagree. Have you ever read the book of Romans? And they're like, yeah, it's just a bunch of starting the church. I get the church. And I said, I think you're reading the book of Romans wrong. I think the Bible, if you got to read it in context. I had a chance to preach about this over the summer. I didn't get to do it at the park because it rained. But context is so important to understanding what you're reading. I got a couple of new books I can't wait to read. Context is so important to understanding the Bible. And I think if you read the book of Romans and you're not reading it in the manner of that hype speech, then you're not reading it right. And that's my personal opinion. You can read it as blasé as you want. Okay, here's the rules, here's the setting up the church. I talked about last week, book 1 through 4 was God made it, we broke it, God redeemed it, we have salvation, grace, and mercy through it if we put our faith in Him. That's books 1 through 4. And then chapter 5 gets into joy and how you find joy, how you find community. But if you don't understand that in context, you don't read that book as that putting the arms around the shoulders of your friends as you start to get into the moment of the battle, of the mission ahead of you, of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Romans is one of those books you need to read ready to fight. Not necessarily. I got the karate kid over here. She just loves karate, and so she's got her, I don't know, what's that stance called? She's ready to punch me. So give me the next slide. So let me give you a little context behind it. Jewish law back when Jesus showed up. These are the things that were punished, some of the things punishable by death. And death back then was they threw rocks at you until you died. Not just little humanitarian. This is like throw stones till you're done. Violation of the Sabbath. Ladies, if you were like sewing the day before and you left the needle in you have to leave it there. Like, I don't care how many times it pokes you. If you work on the Sabbath to put it away, punishable by death. Like, you're like, wait, what? Cursing God. If you've ever let it slip, God, you know what I'm talking about. If you curse God or you yell at God or you question it, those like, God, I don't want to do it because I'm going to get hit by lightning. So, but you know what I'm saying? Like, if you curse God, not just say the words towards God, but really have anger, and they saw you doing that. Like, if you were just, anybody ever, they say that phrase, stomping mad? You just get so mad and you just like talk to yourself. Where am I like, I'm going to hit him. I'm going to just, All right, some of you guys are that person. Like, I kill him. If you were that stomping mad towards God and two people saw it, it could be punishable by death. Worshipping idols, I think that was, and we read it through the Bible and we go, wait, that happened all the time. Yeah, God was really mad a lot at the Israelites because of this. And technically punishable by death. Hence, he put them into captivity multiple times. He was very upset with them for this. Disobeying your parents. I would not have a youth group right now. But yes, disobeying your parents. Blatant disrespect. Like, I think there was a certain learning curve to like, oh, they didn't. But there was a certain fear of their parents because this was able to happen. You know, if you went all out on your parents, get the stones out, boys. See some girls doing softball throws. Like, all right. False testimony in a case. So there's you have to extract this. If you lie in a case, if somebody says, there was no election fraud. No, I'm not going to get into that. If you lie in a capital case, if somebody was brought to you in front of somebody and said, oh, I saw them disobeying their parents, and you lied at that case and it got them stoned and they found out that you were lying, you dead now too. So lying, big deal. Especially like you could do it at your school. If lying was a big deal back then. Honestly, it was huge. Sexual sins, and there is a whole slew of them. Basically, getting married to one lady, one man, and that's it. Like anything outside of that, punishable by death. So no submarine, boys. No girls. No going to the submarine park. Or what was it? I forget it. Submarine race. No going to the submarine races. Punishable by death. So I put that in there so I could use it for this very moment. A lot of small group leaders like, why do you put that in there? I don't know. That's weird. Right there, I planted it on purpose. And there were more. In the Jewish tradition, this was the bar, the level of accountability. Can you imagine living in that level of accountability? Now, they lived during the Roman times, and you would think, when you think of Romans, what do you think of? Anybody like have a class that talks about the Romans? What do you think about the Romans? What? The soldiers, big bad soldiers. Anybody? Just try. The Roman Empire. Caesar, emperor. Come on, they got the Colosseum. What is the Colosseum? Yes, the Colosseum. What do they do in there?
They
Gladiators. Thank you. Like you think of fight. You think of a lot of like war and death when you think of the Roman Empire and all of that. Well, this is if you were a Roman citizen, not one of the people outside of the Roman Empire, but the rights of a Roman citizen. This was what you can be killed for. This is it. Go ahead. Treason, you could be killed. And patricide, anybody know what that is? If you kill your father. Those are the only two things you can be put to death for. If you were a Roman citizen. If you had citizenship, that's it. If you killed your dad or you had treason against the Roman Empire. But what they did, so if you look at the weight of the law back then, the weight of the law was heavy on the Jewish side. Like the law was harsh to be a Jewish believer in God. Roman citizens, what they did, instead of killing you, they made your life miserable, that they thought, you'll kill yourself. They stripped your citizenship. You could be sold into slavery. Those two things, by the way, if you commit treason, they have one version of killing. If you kill your dad, they put you in a bag with a snake and then throw you in the river. Tied up, of course. Like that was their punishment for killing your dad. Sometimes they would put like a wild dog in there with you so that like it would fight to try to get out. And yeah, pretty fun, huh? The reason why I'm bringing this up is if you read the book of Romans, this book is two churches, people of Roman citizenship and people of the Jewish law, now formed a church called the Christian Church. Romans, their identity was found in their citizenship. Jewish law, your identity was in the actions in which you were living life so that you didn't break laws and stuff like that. It was both based in fear. So when you read the book of Romans, if you've never, and so I'm having this conversation with this person, and I said, listen, it's not hogwash, because listen, our world is very similar to that. We live in a world where worldviews say, listen, you can and can't do this, you can't post this, your voice is this. You know, not just in America, but throughout the world. I mean, oppression happens all the time. Your value is based on how pretty you are according to the world is, or how strong you are, or how good of an athlete you are. We put value on you. These people were so oppressed with laws and value. You know, the Roman Empire, you were more valuable the more land and money you had. And you got more rights and privileges. And you feared losing that. And so you lived a life that would gain you more wealth. Even that means you oppress somebody. If you stole from somebody, the punishment was you had to pay back 4 times that amount, which that could get extremely expensive. And so when we read the book of Romans, we start seeing a little bit of ourselves. We start seeing oppression and value-driven and money-driven. The more money you have, the more rights you have, the more likes you have, the more things you can have. And so it's very tangible if you start reading the book of Romans like that. So give me the next slide. So why would they ever unite in under the banner of Jesus? Well, we have to understand what Jesus offered. Andy Stanley wrote a book called Irresistible. And in it, he said, listen, the church exploded. Right then, when Jesus said, I want to give you a new covenant, the church blew up. Why was it so exciting for people to join this Christian church? Why would Roman citizens give away? They were still Roman citizens, but now they had to live equally with Jewish people. Why would Jewish people want to go, these Roman citizens that oppressed us because we're outside of the Roman law, why would we want to be friends with them and start a church under Jesus? And there's one very simple answer. Because he offered freedom. Just like he offers you. He offered freedom back then. You no longer lived under, yes, you have to follow the rules. You still have to follow the rules now, P.S. You still have, there's some laws you still need to follow. But can you imagine a life, a revolution of love? And I know that guys, and maybe even some of you girls go, oh, love. Go in the submarine. Can you imagine where you were so oppressed by your stature, like you were obsessed with stature and getting more likes and having more possessions, that was the whole of your identity, and if you lost it, you had nothing. We do that all the time nowadays. I'm going to be a baseball player if I don't have a backup plan if I don't make the major league. I didn't get enough likes on the internet, therefore I hate myself. I should have 1,000 likes. That was a beautiful picture. I agree, it probably was a beautiful picture, but the world gave you stature and standard. Jesus offered freedom. You could make a mistake and everything wasn't taken from you. You could be somebody who is at the bottom and nobody loved and nobody cared for and nobody gave value. You could be a slave under the Roman Empire and you were treated as an equal under the cross of Jesus Christ. And the church, the rallying cry of the church exploded. Can you imagine if finally the Romans had to set aside their stature and say, listen, I'm going to love you and I'm going to use my gifts and my wealth to build the church. It doesn't matter where you're at now. It doesn't matter who you are. You know, the Jews were like, listen, we're gonna set aside the fact that our value was found in all these laws, and we're just going to simply love each other. We're going to simply be kind to each other. We're going to simply look at you and treat you like a human being, and we're not going to... These laws were so oppressive. People lived in fear and terror, and Jesus said, I don't want you to live like that anymore. So if you are right now living in a sense of fear and terror, or I'm not good enough, or I need, seniors, you guys are starting to think about careers and jobs, which one's going to make me the most money. You guys are dealing with all of these emotions right now. The Bible should be the most attractive to you because your value is not found in the wealth of the world, the rules of the world, the law of the world. It's found in Jesus and who he made you to be. And that's why baptism is so important. Because you enter into the same relationship that the Romans and the Jews entered into. The book of Romans was really a blueprint of what the church should be, but it was way more than that. There was rules and structures, but it also said, listen, you can find joy, you can find value. You don't need to look for likes and hearts and love. You can actually find that here. You can find relationship here. You cannot be held to the standard of the world because you already were made valuable and wonderful. And that's what a relationship and through baptism was. They were baptized into the Christian faith and saying, listen, I want to go public with my faith, and I want to say, I want to run this race together with you. Cross country is a team sport. I know we talked about this the other week, and some of you guys are like, cross country, wow, world's most dull sport ever. I submit polo is, but whatever. I don't know how I can hit this home hard enough. I don't know how I was struggling all week with the words because as I talked to this person, they had weight, they had baggage, and I said, Bible doesn't offer you like money or fame or fortune. It offers you freedom from that. Read Romans and let the weight come off of you. Give those to God and the weight comes off of you. And so that's how I had that conversation. It was a great conversation. They read Romans and actually they had the Bible app and they push play, which is if you guys don't like reading, just push play on the Bible app and it reads it to you. And the words started to comfort that person. The words started giving that person, I got text messages this week that says, hey, I've got more questions. I want to know about freedom. I want to know about value. I want to be excited about my faith because what God offers maybe really is something good. And that's not a beat my own chest. I want to say that is not what that story, if you took it as that is not how it was intended. What it was intended to do is say, listen, if you're struggling with that thing, I need you to read Romans and I need you to go, listen, this is what the church should be like. We should be a team getting together going, that person is hurting, that person is struggling. We need to surround them and we need to be part of a body that builds them up. If you're finding value of if you're sitting separately and quietly and beside yourself, you should have that group of people that go, listen, that's not right. Let's bring you back. I've talked about it several times now for my car drivers. Listen, when you drive a car, you always correct yourself. It's a little correction to stay on the path and on the road. Yes, you're going to make mistakes, but you're going to have on the road. But when we start sinning and going off the path and getting on our cell phone and messing with the radio and not paying attention, that's when we veer big time off and get into big accidents and people are hurt. We are supposed to be there together for each other. We're supposed to be in that huddle, back and forth going, you've got this, you've got this. You are beautiful, you are valuable, you are great. There is joy, and it's because of Jesus. That value is found in nothing else, not your Roman citizenship, not your Jewish laws. Your value is found in Christ and Christ alone. And if you throw off that weight and we do this together, it is freeing. Could you imagine if we built each other up all the time? Could you imagine if we laughed like this? We laugh on Sunday mornings, most Sundays. Sometimes you're awake, sometimes you're not. But we try to laugh, we try to have fun. I hope you get in small groups and do the same thing and you share burdens and weights. That's what Romans is. It's a battle cry to do it together. Because grace has already been given to you. Christ has already died on the cross. The victory is already won. We already know we're going into the battle victorious. So let's do it together. Let's have fun together. Let's laugh together. Let's engage God together. Let's hold each other accountable. And let's do it as a battle cry, not as a more rules. Oh, crud, I hate that rule. We can't go submarining anymore. Submarine races. Yeah, no, you can't. You need to value her. You need to give her respect. You need to show her the commitment. And in that giving of a full commitment, you get one of the greatest gifts ever. You know, women, you are super people. Like, if you men don't realize that they're super people, they give birth to humans. Like, you can't do that. They're super amazing. Show them the value and respect. Women, these guys, they might be meatheads, but my gracious, I'd love to have one of them as my defender too, because they're so big and burly and strong. I know, you're like, wait, when did this turn into the babe conversation? But what I'm saying is you are meant to be in relationships together. You have desires of relationships and friendships. It's because we were created that way, and not just in like dating relationships, but in spiritual relationships as well. Can you imagine if we spent time building each other up in Christ every single week, engaging the God of the universe who created you beautifully, wonderfully, with a purpose and a passion, every single day, hourly, calling on Him and letting Him engage you and who He created you to be. So my hope is you will. For those of you who haven't made a decision to go to the waters of baptism, for those of you who haven't made a decision to follow Jesus, it starts today. The resolution can start right now if you so choose. But that's up to you. I want to be in that huddle going, let's do this together. Let's celebrate this together. Let's pick you up together. Let's be part of a relationship that's exciting, even when it's hard. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Yeah, let's do that together. Yeah, I've got to give up some of the things I love because I need to be there for you. But that is, it pays off so much to engage each other in a relationship with Jesus. I know I'm going long, but I can't state this enough. Stop trying to do it according to the Jewish law or the Roman citizenship and the values that they say that you have. You have so much. With that, I hope you guys realize Jesus loves you very much. And it's not just a book of rules, and it's not just a bunch of frilly 2,000 years ago. It is right now, and it's in the moment, and He means it. Every word of it. But you got to make the resolution. It's your choice to engage it or not, to sit alone or not, to give value to the world who tells you you're pretty only when you get enough likes, or you are strong enough only when you bench enough of this. It's not how God designed you. He has a purpose for you, and it's different for each of us. With that, let's pray. God, you're a big God. I know I talk long today, but man, I love your story. Man, I love the battlefield that we get to go on each day, because it is a dark and crazy world, and we are your light. Help us to be candles that are lit with your light and not just candles in the room. God, give us strength to be part of your family. Give us the people in our lives that encourage us and goes into battle with us on the day-to-day. We ask all this in your heavenly and precious Son's name. And all God's people said, all right, head off small groups.